Alright, now we're ready to draw in and carve the bottom eyelid. And you'll notice that I start off in the corner of the nose, corner towards the nose, and I come out and I start dropping down, and then I come back to that point where the top eyelid hits that horizontal line. You'll also notice that I did draw that horizontal line back in, so you've got a reference point. One other thing I wanted you to notice, if you look at the top eyelid, the high point of the top eyelid is just where I made that 45-degree line and started bending it over. If you look at the bottom line, the lowest point is actually kind of opposite that, towards the outside corner of the eye, and that makes a really good looking eye when you do it that way. So lay that out. Take your sharp detail knife once again, and you're going to, in the next slide, we're going to cut that line and do the cutting to make the eye round and slanted. Okay, in this picture you see that we go ahead and we cut that bottom lid line, and now you're going to start rounding this eye down to this line. And it's important you never cut back up. You've established that top line, you leave it alone. But what you have to do is you have to kind of slide your knife in and down at the same time. Now this takes a little practice, but you can do it. Also, one thing we want to note, when you look at an eye from the side, the eye actually slants back down and into the head just a little bit. So you're actually going to have a larger margin at the bottom of this eye at the lid than you will at the top eyelid that we cut a while ago. You want to take your time and remember to keep that roundness from side to side that we've already established. Don't have a bunch of facets, but very carefully take your detail knife, and you're thinking small slivers of wood now, and you round it from the top of the lid to the bottom of the lid. The smoother, the rounder you can make this, the better off your eye is going to be. And this is where I a lot of times use a small skew. I've got a skew that's probably no more than 3/16 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch, and it helps because it seems like the nose gets in the way sometimes when you're trying to cut this eye with a detail knife. But a skew comes in really handy here. You'll also notice that I made mention here of tucking the bottom lid under the top lid, and you can do that with a detail knife or with a shallow gouge, either way, but you definitely need to tuck that lid under. Okay, now we've got our eye carved and it's nice and round and everything's looking good, so we'll start detailing this. And you'll notice here that I just took a pen and drew some wrinkles in. There's one that delineates the kind of the bottom of the lid there, and then some other wrinkles and some crow's feet coming off the end. There's another one at the top that's going to denote where the eyelid tucks under. And these are pretty standard. A lot of people have different wrinkles. Now this would be wrinkles probably for an older man. A younger person would not probably have near as many wrinkles, especially the crow's feet. But I mostly carve wood spirits and Indians, so I just included all these wrinkles to show you how to do it and what they look like. Okay, here in this photograph you can see I took a small veiner. In this case this eye was not quite life size, so I took that 1.5 millimeter veiner and I cut these wrinkles. Now above the eye I did use a 3 millimeter. Now you got to be real careful when you're cutting close to the eye itself, close to the lid. If you get too close you can make that crumble and it doesn't look good. But you want to cut these in just kind of like I did here. Always remember that when you're carving around this eye, because it is round, you need to carve from the center to the outside. both ways on these lines, because your grain is going to change on you. You can't just start in one corner and come across. You cut from the center out each way. And so go ahead and take these and cut that. Now if you don't have a small veiner, here again you can cut these lines with a V-tool. In fact, in the next picture I'm going to show you, I come back with a V-tool, small V-tool, and actually cut in the bottom of these lines to make them show up better and give you a better shadowed line. Okay, here's the next picture, and this eye is basically almost done. You'll notice that you can see a little shadow line all over, and that's because I came back with a 1.5 millimeter V-tool and cut a line in the bottom of these gouge tracks that we did. And also, and you can see this especially above the eye itself, you can come back and take a knife and even cut in the bottom of that and deepen it. It throws a little better shadow line and makes the eye show up a little bit better. Now before I actually cut all these, if you'll look, you'll notice that I really kind of opened this eye up a little bit more. The gouge circle or hole where the eye is carved, I opened it up, and I did this to kind of give a smoother transition in the eye. And you have to do these kinds of things as you go, but you'll learn these things. Okay, we're just about finished. We just got to kind of deal with the iris and the pupil and how we're going to do that. Now there's many ways to do this, and I'll show you one here. In this case you kind of show the iris and the pupil. Now to do the pupil, and that's the little circle in the center, you'll notice that I took a 1/8 inch, about a number 5 gouge, and I kind of made that little circle. Now as you push that into the wood, and you want to push it in pretty good, make sure you're not undercutting that. If anything, lean it out kind of away from the pupil. If you undercut that, it's going to fall out. It's going to look terrible. And then to come back and do the iris of the eye, I took basically a number 5 gouge, and you just work your way around kind of carefully, and you push it in and let it get a little bit deep, and this gives you a fairly realistic looking iris and pupil. One other thing is on your pupil itself, you need to very carefully take your knife and lower that so that it kind of tucks behind the eyelid. If you leave it up flush like it's carved there, it just kind of looks funny. Now there's other ways you can do your eyes, and when you look at the next slide, you'll see this. Sometimes you can just do the iris and just kind of do a hole there and leave the pupil out, and that looks good. Or you can come back with some paint and a very, very small paintbrush and paint the eye in. But any way you go, you're going to have a good looking, fairly realistic eye if you follow these instructions. And here I've just included a picture of kind of the different kind of eyes. You can see the ones that show the pupil or the light. You can see some where I just basically dug a hole where the eye is, and you can see ones that I painted. I hope this video has been of some help to you, and if I can help you in any way, or if you'd like to comment on this, the next slide kind of gives you some information about that. And I'm looking forward to doing some more of these. I'm probably going to do some on noses, maybe even do some on wood spirits. We'll just kind of have to see how it goes. Thank you, and have a good day.